We break the silence, we open the door. Love and compassion, that's what we're here for. With every story, with every breath, we find connection in life and death.
Welcome everyone to the next episode of the Little Hospice podcast. I'm Roxy.
And I'm Kevin.
And today on our couch, we've got a very special guest who I'm hoping I'm going to say it perfectly right now. Safiyya Vorajee.
Yay!
That was my first task.
Yeah. I mean, pronunciation was spot on. I mean, it only took us guys 10 minutes before we started shooting this.
Everyone's got a pre-game. Everyone's got a pre-game.
You know what I mean?
I mean, firstly, I gave you your shorthand name, didn't I? Which was definitely a no-go.
Yeah.
So, Safiyya, thank you so much for joining us. I'm really excited about this conversation because I have followed you for such a long time, both yourself and Ashley. Obviously followed the whole of Azaylias' story. And the main reason for that was my background is haematology, so all of the blood cancers in adults. But any sort of high profile cases then you just sort of get drawn to. So for me, I'd just like to hear your story and obviously how you've navigated grief and life after Azaylia.
Yeah, so thank you firstly for having me here. You guys are so I feel relaxed already here. What a great space. And like the fact that we've got like an almost orange chair as well is perfect. That's a big bold statement to answer so intricately. So I think what would be really good for us to do is to maybe break it down, because I think there's not just a generic answer to that, and a lot of people do ask that question, and it's because you kind of think, well, where does that person want to start with their journey? How do they want to conversate about it? And for me, I almost think that there's so many layers. It's like an onion, grief is, and it just builds up and builds up and builds up. So for me, it's like, where would you like to start with those layers? You know, would you like to start in a way where, you know, more of an introduction to Azaylia, you know?
Yeah,
for me, it would be that, because father of 3 girls.
Aww.
And for me, that's what I want to hear, you know.
It's, you think that you love your mom, you think you love your dad, you think you love your brother,
nothing like
your
a
siblings.
child.
Once your child is here, that's it. So for me, I feel like I adapted really quickly to motherhood. I think I'm very nurturing as a person, so I'm very caring and very soft and very mindful, and I feel like it was just automatically boom. I took
meant
to
to
that.
be.
It was meant to be. And then as time went on, I mean, I was only 6 weeks after emergency C-section, and I was back out injecting because I'm an aesthetic practitioner as well.
Wow, that's gosh.
Ashley told me I didn't need to go work and stuff like that, but for me, I've always been very self-motivated, very driven, very ambitious. So for me, I wanted to buy my daughter like all of the cute things, and
that independence is key. And obviously, you want that to pass on to your, you know, your children and that generation, because it's important. It's really important.
I love that as well. I love the independence of it, and it was just so lovely to then leave Ashley at home with Azaylia and me go to work and do it. It was just a really, really lovely thing to do. And then, you know, we started experiencing things like colic, should I say?
Everything's colic, isn't it?
Yeah, colic. Azaylia ended up with thrush on her tongue. So all the things that they expect babies to have. And I was ringing the GP, and it was still restriction times as well, because although we've come out of COVID, there were the legislations and things that we still had to the protocols we still had to adhere to. And so I was taking pictures, phone calls, then picking up prescriptions. And then I remember thinking at this point, like, wow, like there's a lot to do. And then, you know, I'd gone from breastfeeding to then giving her milk as well, because they were saying, okay, maybe she's hungry. So really figuring it out to the point where her tummy was getting very swollen, and I had to go in for an actual checkup at the GP. And I remember her looking like she got a cold, you know, when your like eyes are like small
really
and you're puffy and her tummy was swollen. I'd gone to the GP to actually have an in-person checkup to go over making sure your baby's okay. And he discharged us saying everything was okay. Now, I've got those videos and pictures because I'm a proud parent as well. I want to get my video. I've always been, since the moment I had my phone and it having a camera on it, I've always got pictures and videos. And obviously, Azaylia being the most precious person in my life, I wanted to capture everything, her 6-week appointment. Yeah. And now looking back, I'm like, how did the GP miss that? Yeah. Because now I'm an oncology mum. But at that time, I got sent home. And then Azaylia was getting blood in a nappy. Because I'm so like, my cleanliness and organisation, it was like as soon as that line came on the nappy and it was blue, she'd have a fresh nappy on and all fresh. And I thought, oh, there's blood in a nappy. And I just know that that's a sign.
Is that you knew from that moment, you knew something wasn't quite right.
But I contacted the GP. Yeah. Everything's fine. She's a newborn. Just monitor it.
You get labelled as like a neurotic person, don't you?
And that's something that I'm actually not. I'm a very, very calm person when it comes to like medical stuff. And I think because I've got a background of understanding like medical situations and what things are. And I think that's why I know, quite a lot of things that will keep me calm. For her, it was like, that's my baby. Like
Absolutely.
If it's me, the second nappy, a week later, blood in it. It's okay. Just monitor it. Oh and I thought, and then the third nappy, it had blood in it. So then I'm like, okay, I'm getting more blood. And then it got to the point where she couldn't have no medicine, right water. She couldn't have no Calpol because she was still too young. Yeah. So then I'm thinking, I just need another week or two to go by and then she can have the Calpol. So we were doing everything in her surroundings, putting more vapes into the air just so it could just like allow her to breathe because she was stuffy, couldn't breathe. And then everybody were holding her, but she liked to be bounced. She'd really enjoy it like all babies do. Yeah. This one day I went to go and change a nappy, and bearing in mind how often her nappy got changed, and babies need their nappy changing, I got my phone out again, and as I picked the phone up, I then noticed the bruise. It was like here on her stomach, on her hip area. And then it's like I put the phone down, then I looked at it and I thought, Then I picked the phone back up, but to my eye, her tummy didn't look like it had any mottling. Do you know, like when you're cold and it's like you get, it just looks a bit distort on the skin. It looked like that in the phone, but not to my eye. And then I remember, because of having background in aesthetics and dental nursing, if there's a lump underneath a bruise, there's an alarm bell. That's a sign. Yes. Yeah. So my head just thought, this isn't right. There's something happened. I genuinely thought somebody had just been bouncing her. Yeah. And I thought somebody's bloody bruised her. Like, people need to be more gentle. Yeah, absolutely. But it wasn't. But just fast forwarding a long time, from going back and forward to the GP and making sure they contacted us, we ended up getting to a point where we was catapulted into hospital. We was in A&E, and emergency drove, and the emergency services took us from A&E straight into Birmingham Children's Hospital, and from there we didn't come out for like 6 months. We came out for a week here or there, just when her levels had got to a point where she could, and we got told that she'd got AML leukemia, which is, we didn't get told at the time. We got told that her blood count was 200, her white cells were 200, and I didn't understand what that meant. Although I had previous background, I don't know. It's such an intricate area of understanding that I didn't actually know what was going on. And at that moment, I just remember I like wondering what it all is. All I did in that moment was take care and be a mom to my baby. Yeah. And when the doctors were coming around and nurses were coming around, they was trying to draw blood from her, but because her blood count was at 200 of white cells, they couldn't draw blood. It was like sticky substance and they couldn't even draw it. So I remember we'd never give her a dummy, but I always had an emergency dummy in a bag. And I remember sticking it in the sugar water that they got in the hospital. And then it was the first time, and I remember covering her face where all the medics were around her and just covering her like this and just giving her a dummy and like, hello, like mummy's here, and just talking to her. And then Ashley had never been around anything like that before because he's not got no medical background. So me seeing syringes and needles and all this kind of stuff was very normal. And I remember him being like at the back of the room, literally just trying to collect his head. And I think my instant thing was right there, covering and
mum mode.
Right away.
Just keeping things calm. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then we had to go over Birmingham, and then there was really trying to figure out what kind of leukemia it was. And then I just remember walking through, Azaylia got took into emergency intensive care to get a central line fitted in. And at these moments, you don't know what's happening, what's going on. Your head's trying to get around everything. And then, they sat me and Ashley down to say, she's got AML, she's got it in her spleen, everywhere in her body. It was absolutely covered in her body. And bless her little heart, we had to go through a first round of chemotherapy, and she cleared out a system to be able to go through to transplant. And that was just a blessing, because I just believe if she would have been, that was 8 weeks she got diagnosed with AML, and then straight onto chemotherapy. And every time she had that chemotherapy, it was like we were praying. Me and Ashley were sleeping in intensive care in that room, of like just really praying every single day to every moment,
Absolutely. And it's like navigating a whole new world, isn't it? Because hematology and the things they come out with is so complicated.
Different language.
Yeah, absolutely.
Suddenly you have to just become a nurse.
Absolutely.
And I looked at her face, and I'd suddenly then changed from a mummo to become a nurse.
No.
And it was like that transition of feeling like mum, nurse. I was then learning and questioning the nurse. And because I've got medical background as well, I'm like a sponge. You guys must know, like, you start when it's like I was taking a degree at the same time, because I need to know everything that's going on with my child. Because I'm not being funny, you do hear of these situations where you get these cases where, people have injecting these children, or people that have ended up murdering children through giving them wrong medicines and stuff. So I've now got all these trauma things, thinking I need to make sure that there ain't nobody around my child that's given her wrong medicine. I was looking at the medicines of everything that was being given to her. It got to that point where I was obsessed, because
it's hypervigilance. That's your precious child.
Yeah, she's my responsibility. And I remember the conversation between myself and Ashley, and saying, he was like, Safiyya, they're nurses. And I'm like, I know, but I also know nurses. Nurses is also a human being. They could be going through their own things in life, and they could be experiencing things you don't know. People are tired, maybe done their shifts. You need to be, and I remember really installing it into him, like, remember, nurses are humans, doctors are humans, we're all human beings.
It has to be collaborative between the parent and the medical staff, otherwise it doesn't work. It does not work.
It's absolutely the most devastating thing to hear those words, that your child has got AML leukemia, and continuously being told that she might not make it to the next round. And Azaylia got to that next round. She managed to get over 80,000 people on the bone marrow register in one weekend, which is one of the highest numbers that they've ever had, if not the highest number that they've had. And she fought so hard. And I remember her oncologist coming in saying she might not graft. And I used to say, please don't use that language in here. And I know that you've got to, from medically.
Positive language.
And I'm saying, she is going to. So she would talk to me, but she'd be so ready for me to go, she's going to. So she'd have to tell me through a medical, because you have to legally. And every conversation I'd be like, she's going to. And then she'd look at me, and I'd be like, yeah, but I'm telling you, she's going to. And she did engraft. She did engraft to a donor. We got to the point where Azaylia got the news that she could ring the bell. And I remember walking into them hospital wards and always looking at that bell and dreaming of my daughter ringing that bell. But as that moment of us ringing that bell, we then got news 15 minutes before to say it spiked. It's come through a different way, and that was it. But we still, in the moments, even though our world had fell apart again, she deserved to ring that bell. So
absolutely.
Guess what? As parents, we pulled it together. She did reach that milestone, and she deserves to ring that
She
bell.
did deserve that,
So that's why we walked back down, and everybody clapped for her, and celebrated her fight through everything.
But what a family unit, though, to be able to do that, the three of you, and stand strong there together despite, obviously, that horrendous,
it's just incredible resilience in the face of that kind of. For me, if I can ask, the early warning signs that were dismissed while you were going through this with your daughter. How did not suppress those feelings, but were they present, or were you able to block them out because you knew something wasn't right and you kept being dismissed? Was that secondary to everything that was going on, or was that still there in the back of your mind? Because as a parent, there's things that I've experienced with my children and I've thought, I know, but you have to battle your way forward to get an answer that you know is right.
I think for me, because I knew inside something's not right, I was always very vigilant. So it was like I was trying to think, am I just being a new parent? Am I battling with what I know or what doesn't feel right? What's my instinct? What's my head telling me? What's my heart telling me? And then what am I professionally being told? Because I was professionally being told that everything was okay. I was just like, is this what being a new mother looks like? So it was a constant battle, but I didn't want to think that as well. So I didn't know whether it was, after giving birth as well and being a new mom and the hormones, I didn't know whether I was battling with all of that as well. So there's a lot of feelings, and you get postnatal depression and things like that. So I didn't know what all of this was. I just knew that I needed to keep my eye on this. And definitely. I did.
It's just such an intense time to be going through what you then went through, but the intensity, it's how that is managed is, I've tipped my hat off to women. I really have to, because it's not something we experience in that way.
No, I think you are more hyper vigilant as a mum. And you're obviously obsessed with that precious.
I never knew what a mother's instinct was until the moment they sent us back home as well. Okay. And, I'll go into that in a moment. But one thing that I always want to celebrate for Azaylia is that she did get over 80,000 people on the bone marrow register. Every moment that me and Ashley ever walked into her room, we would call it Club 100. And that was, we don't take any energy, our own feelings get put outside that door. Wherever we are, whenever we walk in that door, she gets happy mummy and she gets happy daddy. And whatever our feelings are, they are instantly cut. And she gets the best version of us. And I have, and so has Ashley, had the most incredible moments in that hospital ward that we will cherish forever. And they are, Christmas, Halloween. I used to decorate Azaylia's room. Like my mom and family members would bring over like the Halloween stuff. So she always got to have them moments, Easter, all of them things. We never took away. So I always gave her everything that she could. And, even Christmas Day, I remember the hospital let us in, me and Ashley together for an hour to have with Azaylia. And Ashley dressed up as Father Christmas. I was Mrs. Claus and Azaylia was Baby Claus. And we'd got a Christmas tree in our room and the baubles and the nurses and the staff would work so hard to make little Christmas bags outside so Santa had been. So they really, really do go, like Birmingham Children's Hospital for me, they've got such a special heart because the nurses and the staff have like really gone above and beyond to make such a terrible time become magical at the same time. And even through Halloween, we got everyone on the ward, we were playing trick or treat together and we really did make the most horrific times as magical as possible. And that was because the love that you have for your child.
Absolutely.
So you leave that aside, you know. For us, we got sent home. They told us there was nothing that they could do for us anymore. Me and Ashley just never took no for an answer. And you would do anything for your child, whatever that looks like, you would do. We then managed to find a treatment in Singapore, Azaylia got 2 markers on her, which was CD33 and CD34. And it was Singapore with the only place in the world that could treat CD33 and 34.
Okay.
Her blood got sent off. We actually put out a GoFundMe, and Azaylia, bless her heart, I mean, this is how much the nation absolutely loved and fell in love with Azaylia. In 3 hours, she'd raised over £1 million in 3 hours.
I mean,
and for me,
that's incredible.
Yeah.
that it's insane. But at that time, my head wasn't really digesting what was going on outside my head. I'm having conversations with the Singapore, the people talking, another parent that's put me in touch with this, and because Birmingham Children's Hospital didn't put me in touch with the Singapore clinician.
So that was your own research?
No, that was another lady that had gone through the same with her son. Her name's Olivia, and she had a son, Oscar, and her story became very big. And she actually helped me.
Oh.
She put me in touch with this clinician and got us and then we had to do our own meetings, myself and Ashley. We did our own meetings. We presented all of the documents and we did everything and gave him everything that we needed. And then once he said he could, or he needed further information, did we then link our oncologist in Birmingham and him together.
Okay.
We went and did our own due diligence with another parent that had gone through the same with her child, and her child's still here today.
Wow.
She got sent home at end of life. And if it wasn't for her fight and getting him that treatment, he probably wouldn't be here.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah, so we ended up putting out that massive GoFundMe because we got accepted. Azaylia didn't even have a passport. We got told that once it had all been confirmed, that's when we put the GoFundMe out there. We didn't put it out there until we so desperately needed to get out there. And that was COVID times. You know, you couldn't sell anything, you couldn't do anything. Everything was just locked. You know, so for me, I wasn't really registering anything else. I was thinking about getting her the treatment, getting her a passport. And it was then the news of like, okay, we've got the money to go. I wasn't looking at what we'd raised. I was looking at, we can go. We've got the green light to go. We got told Ashley wasn't going to be able to travel with me because of the COVID restrictions.
Oh,
the mother
goodness.
has to take the child. So then it was a big news, and it was I felt absolutely devastated for Ashley that he wasn't going to be able to travel with us. And I needed him. I'm used to having him by my side. And I got told I could lose Azaylia on them travels.
Oh my gosh.
As I'm travelling. So I also had to take on that responsibility, knowing that I could be by myself and be in a different country and lose my daughter. But myself and Ashley, and I think that's why God made us go on this journey together, he chose us to be her parents. Because for me, we didn't make it about us. Never at one moment did we think about our own feelings. It was always prioritising the need for our daughter. So obviously, you know, we're now going ahead, and then that news came in to us to say they've received the blood, they've done the samples, and unfortunately the medicine that they've got there, it's migrated so much that it's just overpowered. They sent us home on end of life. I remember that moment that come in. I mean, I'm literally holding back so I can talk this through, and I think because I've spoke my story so much, I just learn another resilience, strength. I speak for my daughter through this journey. Sometimes I'm like, I can learn how to hold emotion just because I'm so used to trying to hold that back. But in the moments, you know, of the oncologist coming in and delivering that news, Azaylia was asleep. And remember what I said before, I never wanted to hold that energy around her when she's awake and feeling anything. And it stays out the door. And I remember just dropping to the floor. And then I looked at Ashley, and I just, you know, when you just can't even look at each other because you feel defeated. You can't even. And then the oncologist even cried. And I think because we'd fought so hard, it was like, I still wasn't believing it. My head automatically thought, okay, we need to find the next thing. I'm not taking no for an answer, because the whole journey from 8 weeks old to 8 months old, if we kept getting told week after week, she might not make it, she might not eat, she might not sit up, she might not be able to do this. And she fought so hard. Like, in the end, it was, we got sent home, you know, family and friends had to come around, and then I had to start learning a different sense of, how is my daughter going to pass? Like, how is this going to happen? So then I had to go out of protection mode into, how can I kept hearing the language, we want to make this as comfortable as possible. I genuinely thought, like, can you stop saying that? What do you mean as comfortable as possible? Like, I didn't get it until now, because it was then, at that time, it was then I was thinking, I've got to make this as comfortable as possible for her. Like, oh my gosh.
Were you getting enough support from like the end of life care team in terms of being asked the questions what you wanted to sort of ask, and obviously what plans you wanted for Azaylia's passing, you know, and where she wanted to be and things like that? Were you able to have them conversations?
They was around, but it was like, because I'm all about energy and law of attraction and stuff like that, them being in my house felt like, you're basically preparing for my daughter to pass. Okay. You're I don't even use the word DEATH. It doesn't come out of my vocabulary. It was like, that was walking through my door, and I was like,
that was affecting the entire atmosphere, wasn't it?
And absolutely. I just felt like, what are you doing here? Why are you here? Like, go away. And I don't think that, through the feelings and thoughts that I had, I just felt like I'll deal with that, like, when that time comes. So I think that I did have that support there, but it was like, and there was conversating as gently as possible. But for me, I needed that support after. And when Azaylia did pass, she passed with me, and I was doing her observations still at home. I was so used to every 4 hours having her observations done in the hospital, where they'd take your pulse and temperature and stuff. I was still doing that at home, and it was like her heartbeat was going really high, and then we'd rush her into the ambulance. And I understand why they don't give it you at home. They don't recommend you having an obs machine at home. I insisted. I mean, I fought for my obs machine, because I'd gone to be such an oncology mom. I wasn't used to having a baby without monitoring her heart rate, monitoring her temperature, her spiking levels. And I remember the night before Azaylia passed, I would sing songs to her. I'd be like dancing with her in hospital, and she'd have bath time, and I'd be like singing Spice Girls, like slam everybody down, word is all around, like just crazy mommy time. And Ashley would always be dancing with her, and we'd give her the best. That's why you'd always see her with a smile on her face. She was such a happy baby, even though she was battling through so much. Every day I'd always put her in fresh outfits, her little bows on her. I'd dress her up, I'd give her nice blankets. I'd always make her environment as fresh. I'd open them blinds, even if I wanted to hide away that day. I'd wait until me and Ashley had swapped, and then I'd go and have my dark time. I'd make it light and fresh and give her that energy. And I just remember the moments then of singing them songs to her, and always, you know, singing When You Believe, Whitney Houston. That's what And the night before she passed, I was in bed, and Ashley would always sleep downstairs, because we'd have to get the medicine. So every 4 hours, she'd have the next lot of medicine. So I'd have to be like, he'd be drawing up the medicine and bringing it up to me upstairs so I can feed it, put it through a central line. So that was the dynamics.
Gosh, this shift in parenting is just...
And then the next minute, it was like this one moment, I was singing this When You Believe to her, Whitney Houston. And Ashley came up, and he'd gone to use the bathroom, and he then got into bed that night. But as I was singing it to her, like, I didn't stop singing it to her, I just carried on. And then, like, I got her to sleep. He actually came into bed, and I thought, I mean, I didn't quite, my focus was all Azaylia.
Absolutely.
Mine and Ashley's relationship at that point, it was non-existent. We were parenting solidly for our daughter. And he got into bed, and I thought, it's the first time we've actually like kind of been there, because I'd let Azaylia fall to sleep and then I'd put him in a cot, you know. And then that morning when I woke up, I looked and I thought, bearing in mind I've had every moment of every day, I knew that day she was passing. And that's going back to that parent's instinct,
Absolutely.
that motherly instinct. I was prepared for that day for her to pass. And that morning I put a monitor on. It was like I knew straight away. And then I brought her straight into bed, like just chilling there with me and Ash. And then I said to him, I think today's the day. And then her obs were going down, and then yeah, we lost her. But for us, it was being in her parents' arms and being in the most safest space.
Absolutely.
And being so loved and so protected. I think that if it could be in any situation, and the thing is she passed in the morning as well, not even at night time in her sleep. It's like she waited.
Yeah.
So we were all there together.
But that evening was meant to be shared.
Yeah.
It was meant to begin there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like you said, Ashley had been on the couch getting everything ready for you. It was meant to be shared. And that time was precious.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think that for us, even like now, you know, Azaylia passing, it's been the most devastating, but it's really made me the person who I am today. And, you know, without 3 months after Azaylia passing, we started the Azaylia Foundation for me and Ashley. That is co-parenting now, because we're not together, but our daughter's growth. I look at that as my daughter growing up. And that's why I'm so precious about making sure we make them movements to help children and families.
That's Azaylia's legacy. That's her impact on the world for many years to come.
Yeah. And I think you've obviously been such a massive advocate throughout Azaylia's journey, that obviously this is your way of continuing that, isn't it? And
it is
being that advocate and that support system for other people.
It's a very important journey to share, because as you said earlier, that you connected with another parent who'd gone through that. You were able to connect with Singapore. The hospital didn't do that. So no one else would know that unless your story is shared and it's talked about.
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
very important. Of all the things we want to get out of this podcast, or other people want to get out of their podcast, that is one of the most important aspects. Don't underestimate the parents and the power of connecting with other parents.
I think as professionals, you can be in professional mode all the time and you're seeing patient after patient after patient. And I think that not ignoring a parent's intuition, I always say go with it. You can never, ever be too sure. And you can never, ever think that a professional, you should always get a second opinion as well.
Yeah.
You know, we're humans as well. And I think that's where I have that gracious period in me as well. I try and look at, you know what, we're all human. We can all overlook stuff. We may not have the education, and that's what the Azaylia Foundation brings. You know, we are funding PhDs, and that's because their education, it's not that person's fault sometimes. You know, it's the education, it's the system that we have in this country. You know, childhood cancer has got less than 3% of funding, and it's the biggest killer of children in the UK, and it gets overlooked because it gets considered to be rare. And while that gets considered to be rare, the funding is not there, and it's parents like myself and the other mother that has to really educate one another to really see the devastating impact that it actually has on our children, and they deserve so much more. And that is why I will be the voice for the voiceless, and that's why I'm so proud to have the platform that I've got, because, and I always say to every mother that's out there and every parent, just because I'm here and I'm speaking, I am the voice for you. Like, I am the voice for those children that are in hospital, that are battling and going through chemotherapy and having surgery on a daily basis. So just because it's my daughter that has been that voice for the voiceless, I am now continuing her legacy, and I'm continuing to carry for all of those other children and parents, because I do get it. where people will say, you know, but I'm also going through this and I see you and I hear you and I am with you. And that is why we continue Azaylia's legacy. And it's not, you know, some parents will probably not feel seen or not feel heard because, you know, that their child's also gone through it. And I've experienced conversations like this as well. And it makes me feel awful because it will be like, well, my child went through that and they didn't get the recognition, or like I'm suffering and like nobody sees me. And I really, really work at so intricately with as many of these parents as I can to let them know that when you see me, please see yourself as well, because I am here as your voice. And if you can't be seen and you can't be heard, just know I am there still fighting for our children. I still talk so beautifully about all of our children that are up there playing in heaven together. And I talk about the language difference in such a powerful way, because Azaylia's resting place, I call it her garden. It's a place, you know, people really nurture a garden, and I make sure that her space is called a garden because that is a beautiful space that I go to. I go to Azaylia's garden every single day. I have lit a candle for her from the moment she passed away. She's had a candle going every single day, even till this day, even before me coming to here today. Make sure she got a candle. I clean her garden. If it's Easter, her garden gets decorated with Easter celebrations. If it's Christmas, I don't put a Christmas tree up in my house. I don't put anything to do with Christmas up in my house. I go and decorate Azaylia's garden. That is where I pour my pain into. I pour my pain into helping children and getting them presents at Christmas in the hospitals and supporting the families. So I pour my pain into purpose. So when I'm struggling, I always do that. Azaylia's headstone, I don't call it a headstone, I call it a crown. This is her crown of a celebrationary of what she stands for. I don't call it DEATH. No. I call it passing, because I don't believe that we ever do. I believe that we go to somewhere. It's like being pregnant. I seen this one thing that got shared with me a lot online, and it really helped me, that when you're pregnant as a woman, the child is an inch from earth. We prepare the room, we prepare the prams,
so true.
We prepare everything, but she don't know what's over here, but we do. Now the roles have reversed, and she now knows what it is to be over there in heaven, and now I am the pregnancy of what she's preparing. So I'll always make sure. Makes me feel emotional.
What an amazing way.
I absolutely love the way that has been described. I love Azaylia's garden. I couldn't think of anything more fitting.
And I now live as the woman that I would want her to become. And I really struggled to live.
I honestly don't know how.
I really struggled to live, and this is why I'm trying to like hold it together, because I feel like so many people struggle out there that I don't want to crumble. I want to give you as much as I can, because I think that after Azaylia passed, she taught me courage. I actually thought we would be in there for her, but in fact, she was there for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's like now I struggled after Azaylia passed. I gained weight. I gained weight 3 months after Azaylia. It was depression. It was not wanting to move. I couldn't go into a supermarket. Our story was so big. Everybody knew who I was. People wanted to speak to me. I was consoling them. And all I wanted to do was just hide. I'd walk into supermarkets. I'd have my hood up to just go and get milk. And then I was triggered by nappies, milk, all of these things, pregnant women, people pushing their kids. It was so loud. The world was still carrying on, and mine had ended. And I couldn't fathom how are people just doing normal things around me? Like, my world's finished. I didn't want to live. I didn't want to be here anymore after losing your child. The sunsets, the orange skies, the big monuments around the world, you know, Niagara Falls lit up orange. The most incredible, phenomenal things were lighting up orange to really pay respect to Azaylia. I was getting rainbows in the sky. Outside my house, I'd walk out, I'd have an orange sunset to the left, and the double rainbows would be coming to my right. Not once through my hospital journey, I was waiting for the rainbows to come, because I kept seeing in hospitals they were doing rainbows, and I was thinking, as they were going along through this trauma mindset, I was like, they do the rainbows because, you know, after all of this, we're going to get rainbows and we're going to get the light and the happy ever after. It never came. It was only 2 weeks ago. I mean, I shared it on my YouTube channel and shared it on my Insta stories that we had a meeting with Birmingham Children. Birmingham Children's let us use their office. We had a board meeting with the Azaylias Foundation. And as we'd finished that meeting, it was such a purposeful meeting, like so exciting for what's coming ahead of us. We walked out, we'd gone back to the car park. And as I was driving out, in my car, I literally drove, not like I just crept. This massive rainbow come above Birmingham Children's Hospital.
So Azaylia was with you
yeah,
that
she
day.
was definitely saying.
And I'd never seen the rainbow. I'd never seen a rainbow ever through any of them dark days. I was waiting for a rainbow to come to be like, okay, we got this, because I'm all about law of attraction. I jumped straight out the car. Dominic, our CEO, he was just above on the next level. Ashley were coming through the bottom, and I jumped out. I was like, guys, a rainbow, a rainbow. My God. I rang Ashley because he had gone through the underground. I was like, a rainbow, Ashley, come. I was so excited. Excuse me. I was so excited to get this rainbow across the hospital that it was so powerful. And that's the only thing that's what keeps me going. My signs. And Azaylia's journey was so powerful, and she really keeps me going, and to live for her now is what I do every day. If I see an orange sunset, I could be in the hardest space, and that orange sunset, I'm like, you're reminding me. That rainbow I see as I'm coming through, I'll speak to that rainbow. I pull over if I'm in my car, and I absorb that rainbow. I absorb the frequencies that it's giving me. I show up every day, and like I said, I struggle to live. And then I thought, I need therapy. Like, I'm in such a dark place. There was so much love that I was getting from those people around me that I couldn't. You're giving it me, but it's not registering. I need something. Yeah. I need something else, because although I'm doing all of this. And then I ended up like taking that therapy. I took that help. First therapist didn't align with me. Second therapist, no good. Third therapist, landed lucky. And she really managed to put everything. I just thought, what's the therapist going to do for me? How are they going to? They've not gone through this.
Yeah, absolutely.
The best thing I ever did. I mean, I kept telling Ashley, like, maybe therapy will help you. And he's like gone through fitness, and that's how he copes. My relationship broke down as well. So then not only have I lost my daughter, I've lost my relationship. And I think because I was so in my grief that I kind of just thought, okay, well, I've lost my relationship too. And those were the moments where I thought, everything is gone. Everything is gone. Like, how am I ever going to even live without my daughter ever again? And, you know, now I remember getting to that point. The only time you would see me out is if I was showing up for anything to do with the Azaylias Foundation, or if there was going to be an opportunity for visibility for me to be able to talk for my daughter's legacy and for these children and families. And then I would piece myself together and solely do it for that. Me having a moment to take a breath to live for myself was never on the cards. It's only been more recently now where I've actually thought, I need to become the woman I would want my daughter to grow up to be. You need to be here. You need to continue a legacy. You need to be there for them children. There's so many people like relying on you. You really do need to. You need to be here for the people. What makes me feel good is being the light that through the hardest points of my life, to the points of not laying my daughter to rest, to the points of me not wanting to live here and be anymore, you can be a very powerful woman. You can get back up again. You can make life again. You can go out there, you can chase your dreams and take your loved ones with you. Because guess what? In the end, it's all going to make sense. You're going to be reunited with them. So go and talk about the story with them once you get there. Because one thing we're promised is to pass to the other side in this life.
But I just think your energy and resilience and that strength is just unremarkable, isn't it? Like,
I love the
I have
fact
no
that
words.
You state that you are going to become the woman that is there.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
Every moment.
And it makes sense.
Yeah, every moment in my daily choices that I make, what would I tell my daughter? How would I want my daughter to behave? How would I want to sit there and be proud of her? So I kind of know she's watching me, but I'm also watching her here.
Yeah.
When you're a mother, you actually carry the cells of your child still after you give birth. So I live with my daughter. It's me and her together. Me and her here together today. When I collect an award, I collect that award knowing that, you know what, she's with me here.
Yeah.
And it's actually, I'm collecting it for her, but it's just my footsteps that are taking it. Me sitting here speaking today. And it's actually my daughter sitting here speaking. I'm just a body that has now got my daughter inside of it. And we collectively come as a duo together.
Oh, that's just amazing though, isn't it? That's just, I know.
Yeah.
It's very, it's
But I genuinely do. I speak to. There's nobody on social media, right? We're all in a social media bubble. You know, whether people are sitting now watching this podcast, scrolling on your phone, whether you're on TikTok, Insta, YouTube, whatever platform you're listening to it, maybe in a car or in the gym or going on a walk. We live in a world of social media, and there was nobody. There was things out there, don't get me wrong, there's amazing organisations out there that help people, but when you are, my stomach's growling now, I'm so sorry. You can hear it through the mic, like, social media is such a powerful place. It's also a very dark place. There was nobody on social media that I could relate to. I felt like I was on my own. I felt like, you know, people got these, looking through social media and you've got perfect families and you've got people getting pregnant and you've got amazing jobs and you see all of this.
Curated.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I felt like I am a nobody, I'm a nothing, I've got no value. My partner don't want to be with me anymore. My daughter's not here. And you know what? Like, I literally felt there was nobody on social media that I could look at and think, I'm holding on here. I'm going to follow your journey, your story. And I think that's why I was so lost and lonely that I was talking to my social platform. And by talking to my social platform, there was lots of other people going through that, telling me that they was also struggling and suffering. And that was the only place that made me feel seen and heard, to then think, hold on a minute, I'm opening up this wall here. There's loads of other people that are feeling like this, and I'm feeling like this, and I'm lonely, and I'm dark, and I'm depressed. And sometimes you don't want to put all that pressure on your family because they've gone through so much with you. You just think, wow, because you get protective over your family and you don't want to dump everything. They've gone through so much as it is, that I actually thought, wow, I've actually got loads of other people to talk to. I go on my TikTok live so much. I speak on my Instagram so much. I share my journey and some people can't even understand why I do. Like, oh my God, they actually think that you should be behind closed doors and you should be dealing with this in privacy, and they think it's a place where you should stay. That is from our ancestors.
Absolutely.
That is from our grandparents.
Yep.
And now knowing how many lives I've saved, how many lives my daughter's saved, I have people coming through my platforms telling me, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here. If it wasn't for your daughter's story, I wouldn't appreciate my family that I've got in front of me.
Yeah.
you know, I've had grown men come to our door with me and Ashley when we were together and say, if it wasn't for your story, my family wouldn't be together now.
Yeah.
And
I'm sat here listening, and all I'm thinking is, you became the very thing you were looking for.
yes.
And Azaylia played a big part in that. Again,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
you're actually that connection that those people needed. So again, laws of attraction, you became what was needed.
Yeah.
Wow, do you know what? It's until you speak it as well. That's exactly what it was.
You were meant to find that there was nothing there to become it.
Yeah. And I think that's where it's happened so organically, because a lot of people don't understand it. And I'll always say, if you don't understand it, be very thankful that you don't understand what it looks like. I think I was like genuinely looking for the person I really needed.
Yeah. And look at how many people now you've helped.
Yeah.
And will continue to.
Absolutely.
And that's why I'm so like blessed to be able to be invited on podcasts like this, because if there wasn't a social space for having safe conversations like this, we wouldn't be able to help the amount of people that we do.
We wouldn't.
No.
Really...
And you're so right in what you say. A lot of the way people perceive grief is so historic.
Do you know one thing I want to say as well while I'm here for your viewers is a massive thing that helped me was work.
Okay.
I didn't work and routine. You fall so deeply into depression, and people ask me how I do it. You fall so deep into depression, not even getting out of bed to change your clothes, to have a shower, to putting cream on, to finding that confidence again within you. Now, I am so blessed to have, you know, my brother's amazing, my family, my friends. I've got a great unit around me. The one thing that's kept me very, very focused is my work. And I have the most phenomenal team at Social Nation. Honestly, they are like family to me. Like my agents, my manager have come in and treaded with such love and compassion to me. And even now I struggle. And one thing I struggle with is learning a new approach to learn. Yes. So I learned through my therapist. I was very hands-on as a youngster of like, you know, doing hair, doing aesthetics and all of those kind of things. I was a hands-on person, not an academic person. I learned how to be academic because the job role I needed to have academic to it, but I had to be focused and want to love something to learn it. When I got to a point here with my agents and then getting these opportunities to speak, I couldn't even speak. I couldn't even put a sentence together. Trauma had traumatized my mind so much, I felt stupid. And that's one thing, like I've just been holding this conversation on my TikTok lives of talking about trauma can actually make you feel like you can't even string a sentence together.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then sometimes when I look at words now, and then I used to have it before, but not as severely as what I have now. I look at words and it looks muddled up to the point where I look at it and I'm like, am I now dyslexic? It's even new learning habits where I look at it. I have to call my agents to talk through things that genuinely before I probably would have been able to look at, digest, not need to speak to anybody about. However, now my new learning method has been, I see stuff and it looks very confusing, but when you give me the job and talk it out with me, you get the best delivery out of me and I work so well. And it's just learning different learning types as well.
It's retraining, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's retraining of those processes.
Your brain has been through the worst trauma any human can experience.
And I just think that people really need to give themselves that time as well with that, because I genuinely feel like, and because I push myself so much, that you're new, it's like hitting restart. And if you accept to learn to hit restart and learn life all over again in an adult's body with all the knowledge and facts and traumas that you know, and start again, it's a really important place to start. Hit restart, accept that you need to hit restart, and then go again. Your old styles might not learn to do it with you. But I'm at this point now where I kind of just celebrated it the other day that I've actually stopped therapy, but I've now replaced it heavily with the gym.
Okay.
my old coping mechanisms before, from the age of 16, was I used to de-stress using the gym. I used to train 4 or 5 days a week, do 2-hour sessions. I've gone back to implementing old habits that were good habits and bringing all the goodness of me back over here. I've even just renovated my bedroom because I want to start taking care of my appearance. I want to step out and be the woman who I want to become. And I think finding your dark it's a great place to sit in the dark sometimes, because you know what? You really find the person you need to become. You need to be lonely sometimes. You need to go through it. You need to sit there. You need to cry. You need to feel devalued, but you need to stop having expectation in this world of other people, because with expectation comes disappointment. And I felt like I've had a lot of people let me down. I've had a lot of people that I expected certain things from. And do you know what? The biggest lesson that I learned now, I live in survival mode every day because I know what it feels like to have nothing, and I'm scared to ever get back to that point. Now I'm at this point where I rely on me for everything. I learn everything. Even people say to me, why did you do your own edits, Safiyya? You could get somebody to do your own edits for all the channels that I do.
Then you're not learning. You're not challenging yourself. No. You're not growing.
I'm not growing. And I just think that don't worry about restarting again. And like, I just want to be that hope for people, because once upon a time, I might not have even been sat here where I am. So,
wow. Honestly, Safiyya, you are the most incredible human being.
Thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you, because
it's really important.
I feel like I've absolutely yacked your head off, and it's your podcast, and I'm so sorry.
One of the things about behind this podcast is people listening to understand those and go, I felt that way. I did that.
Yeah.
So it's very important for us to ask questions, but it's also very important for our guests to talk openly about their experiences.
Yeah.
That is what's going to resonate with our listeners, not me and Roxy.
But I think that because you asked that question right at the start, you see how many layers there is to this, of like understanding to be a mom, and then being a nurse, and then learning what the right adjustments are for your child. And I think that's why it's so important that, you know, even medically, you know your child.
I think the key things for me to take from our conversation today is obviously your strength and resilience, how differently grief does look, and how you said at the beginning, grief is like an onion. I love that. I think it's so right, and I will probably use that with patients now and families.
But
because
it's true when you think about the layers of an onion, and you think about grief, especially what we've experienced in a hospice setting. There are so many layers.
Yeah, and the journey that you have been on just in this short space of time, and obviously how you have turned that around, and you've got a different purpose now. You're a completely different person to what you may have been.
I look at it as like a caterpillar. It's like I was a caterpillar, and I'm now learning to fly again. I look at it like I'm coming off therapy. I've just came off therapy, and it's like I haven't got my stabilizers right now, and I'm just out here, and it's like to everybody else, they look at me and they're like, you're so strong, you'll cope so well, you're whatever. But inside, I'm still very lonely, you know? It's like
you're on your own journey.
Yeah. And I think it's a powerful movement, because I also know the next partner that I need to be in my life, and I know my worth, and I know my value. And right now, I'm just on a very ambitious dream, and I've got so many dreams and goals that are within me, and I want to become the best version. If this is what I've been capable of in survival mode, I am so excited to like chase my dreams and ambitions and goals right now.
I think we're excited to see that as well, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Gosh, yeah, that was
Is there
amazing.
any questions that you guys want to ask me?
It's very few and far between that I'm speechless, but yeah, I'm currently holding it together.
I actually went into our podcast episode thinking, how would I hear this story, and what would it mean to me? Because obviously you're a mum. Your biological changes happen when you get pregnant and when you go through those things. For a father, it's different. But because I am a father of daughters, I get it. I understand it. And I want to cry. I want to go to a dark room, have a good cry. A good, beautiful cry.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I think you are just really inspiring. Yeah. You are.
Thank you. To hear them words as well, for me, I feel as if it's a very, I think when you're in tunnel mode and you just keep going, and it's like along the journey, you know, people always say they're inspired by me, or I give them hope, or, you know, they've took their first driving lesson, or they've took their first step in the gym, or they've done something out of their comfort zone. I always find that a compliment to Azaylia, so I feel like I don't actually take that.
But it's not. It's actually a compliment to both of you.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I think I just find it. I mean, at this point now, where I really struggle to take the compliments and the reward, because it is a compliment. You know, if I meet somebody and they inspire me, I'd want them to take it as a compliment that you have worked so hard in your area, all of your moments, all the stuff that people don't see. I'm inspired by you, so I'm trying to. So it's been a really rough journey, because I never look at myself in that light.
It's not that self-reflection, is it? Because when you were sharing about with Azaylia being in hospital, and you do the Halloween, you do the Christmas, and you'd make those memories, people are doing that and sharing those memories with you. So what you did for Azaylia, people are doing with you. You're allowing that. It's a two-way stream.
Yeah.
And that in itself is beautiful.
And these are memories that every day we take for granted. You know, I've got 2 boys, and listening to you, what a mum you are.
Thank you.
Like, oh my God, that.
Yeah. But then it answers your self-questions about you wanting to make memories and you wanting to do those things.
Because your future, it's not only have you lost a child, you've lost your future.
Yeah.
So all them moments where the children are going back to school, or that next Christmas, or like, I hate Christmas. I'm like, that's why I don't do nothing, because it's like, or like I'll sit with my family, I'll go and have dinner with them, but I do everything to pour. It's like I bleed. It's like when I did my book, Loving and Losing You, Azaylia, I bled literally into a book. That was my first therapy session. That was doing my book. And I just bleed everywhere into everything, like even...
But you bleed positively.
Yeah.
I try. Because that's
you do.
what we need. We need
You
hope
do.
and we need light in this world. And I just think courage is actually being vulnerable. And I think a lot of people really struggle to talk about big feelings. And I think it's beautiful that you've got this space here to be able to talk about big feelings, because a lot of the time people will go, you'll be all right, you'll get over it in time.
Exactly.
You're not going to be all right. You're not going to get over it in time. Do you know what? You're going to carry it forever. The quicker you learn that, the better it is. And it's learning how to create strength around that.
Absolutely.
Honest, open conversations.
Absolutely.
I love that you've got
That
this
is the
space for that.
mission.
Thank you.
No, thank you. We're very grateful. Aren't we? Yeah.
So take a deep breath, pull up a chair. It's time to talk, we'll meet you there. Bringing some light to the end of the day. The Little Hospice Podcast, leading the way.